Welcome to my channel, and I hope you're having a wonderful new year. In this video, I wanted to go over a couple of tips for you to organize your tax documents. Since tax season is pretty much here, I want to make sure that you are perfectly ready when it comes to doing your taxes in just a couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and start the new year right. Let's get all of our stuff together and let's be ready for taxes. If you don't already know me, my name is Jenna Andrada. I am an enrolled agent licensed through the IRS, and I help mental health practitioners in private practice pay the least amount of taxes. Let's get started with the first tip, which is to set up a dedicated folder for your tax documents. It doesn't have to be a physical folder. You can use a digital folder. I personally have been using Google Drive for my personal tax documents for years and years. What I will do is create a tax folder, and then I will create a folder for the year. So it is easy for me to navigate the different tax documents. Once my tax return is done, I save a copy there. That's really important. I get a lot of people that use TurboTax, and it's years later that they need their tax return. They don't have access to it. They can't get it through TurboTax. So just make sure to save a copy for your records within your dedicated tax folder. Next thing, you want to make sure to start gathering your W-2s and your 1099s and start organizing them. You're also going to want to collect any other sources of income. If you are self-employed, then you want to make sure that you have some financials ready, that you are tracking all of your income and your expenses, so you could use that information for your tax returns. You also want to take into consideration any other small income that you received. So an example that I see missed quite a bit is whenever you have like credit card rewards, or maybe you have bank interest, you want to make sure to reach out to those banks or to log into your banking account to see if there are any 1099s there for you. You're also going to want to collect any Form 1098, which is your mortgage interest statement. So log into your bank account and get that information. And usually the banks will mail all of these forms to you, but sometimes they don't. Another one that's commonly missed are your 1099s for any investments in the stock market. So if you use things like Robinhood or Acorns or Apex Clearing, then you want to make sure to get that information. Again, those are missed quite frequently. I kind of touched up on this one, but the next step is to compile your financial statements. Of course, this only applies if you are self-employed or you have an S corporation. But what you want to do is you want to gather all the relevant financial statements and financial documents. So make sure to get all your business bank statements, your credit card statements, any loans that you might have for the business, and that you're recording any expenses that were incurred throughout the year. I 100% recommend something like QuickBooks to keep track of this for you throughout the year, so you are not having to chase down all of these receipts during this very stressful time. Speaking of receipts, let's go into the next tip, which is to organize your receipts and to organize all your expense records. Again, using something like QuickBooks is going to save you a lot of headache. When it comes to organizing your receipts and your bank statements, if you're not going to be using QuickBooks, use a spreadsheet, use something that you're able to track it throughout the year without you having to pull a bunch of receipts when you're doing your taxes. You're going to want to put these down on an Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to want to categorize them. By categorizing, I mean you want to add a tax category or notate a tax category for every single expense. For example, if you did Facebook ads, then the category would be advertising or marketing and advertising. If you use something like Simple Practice, or you use something like Intake Q, then that's going to go under software expenses. So you want to make sure to gather all of that information and categorize it. This is going to make it so much easier when you do your tax returns. If you look at a tax return, we have what's called a Schedule C, where everything is going to be reported. This is going to show you all the tax categories. So just make sure to look at that as a reference guide if you're not sure what type of categories you want to use. If you're not using QuickBooks, I really recommend heading over to the link in my description there is a template for a bookkeeping spreadsheet. On this bookkeeping spreadsheet, the categories are already predefined for you, customized to the mental health industry. Once you download it, all you have to do is enter your expenses, the date, the amount, and the category, and the spreadsheet will create all your financials for you. Make sure to head over to that link so you could download that and you could start organizing your expenses in one place. My next tip for you is to name and date your files. If you are scanning these receipts and putting them in, like, let's say Google Drive, it's going to be pretty useless for you if you don't name your files or date your files, because now you have to open every single image or every single PDF to see what the heck you are looking at. What I recommend if you are working with tax documents, for example, is to put the year, the type of form, and a small description. So what I would do if I receive a mortgage interest statement, which is a Form 1098, is I would put 2023 Form 1098 mortgage interest. And that right there, once I'm looking for these forms, it's easy for me to tell, okay, I already have my mortgage interest statement. I already have my student loan interest, and so on and so forth. You want to make sure to name it and date it, or at least put the year, so it's easy for you to identify those documents fairly quickly and to make sure that you have everything that you need. Finally, don't forget about your charitable contributions. If you're making contributions throughout the year, you want to make sure to gather that information from all of the nonprofits that you donated to. I personally donate to several organizations, so having an ongoing list of who you donate to would be really useful. That way you can make sure to reach out to them at the end of the year if you don't receive anything from them, so you don't miss out on those tax deductions. Following these simple steps to organize your documents and your financials is going to ensure that you have a smooth tax season. Remember that this is going to reduce a lot of your stress, and it enables you to maximize your tax deductions for the year. I really hope this makes you feel more confident about this upcoming tax season. If you are needing help from a tax professional to prepare your taxes, to review your taxes, and to give you tax strategy, then I am the person to reach out to. Go to the link in my description. There is going to be a button to request my 2024 information for the tax service. It will include pricing and my process and everything that it's going to entail, so that it helps you make an informed decision about working with me. Cheers to a successful tax season. I hope to talk to you soon.